Buckle up because what you're about to see defies logic, bends reality, and shatters expectations.
What is that? I've never seen anything like this before.
From rivers that rage like unstoppable beasts to fire dancing on water, nature has a way of throwing curveballs that leave even experts scratching their heads. We're diving headfirst into mind-blowing, jaw-dropping, and downright unbelievable moments caught on camera. Ice-crushing dams, tornadoes twirling over oceans, fish leaping like maniacs, and even gravity pulling a fast one. Ready to witness the impossible? Let's roll! When the Sea Spins, Jade Bay, Germany. It started as an ordinary summer day in August 2014. Calm skies, gentle waves, and the usual bustle near Jade Bay, Germany. But then, something extraordinary happened. A swirling column of mist and wind formed over the water, twisting and dancing like a ghostly tornado. Before long, it crossed onto land, swirling straight through a man's backyard. And just like that, the ordinary turned into the unbelievable. Meet the waterspout, nature's own marine tornado. These twisting columns of rotating air and mist form over warm waters when cool air moves in, creating the perfect storm, literally. Unlike their land-based tornado cousins, most waterspouts are relatively weak, but when they make landfall, things can get dicey. Trees can be uprooted, rooftops peeled away, and lightweight structures sent flying. Jade Bay, located in northern Germany's Lower Saxony region, isn't exactly a hot spot for waterspouts, which makes the 2014 event all the more remarkable. The bay's unique geography, combined with the specific weather conditions that day, created a rare and fascinating sight. So, what should you do if you ever find yourself staring down a waterspout? First, don't let curiosity get the best of you. These swirling columns may look mesmerizing, but they pack a punch. Boaters should head for shore immediately, as waterspouts can capsize smaller vessels. If you're on land, seek shelter indoors and stay away from windows. And whatever you do, don't try to film one up close. While it may be social media gold, no viral video is worth getting caught in nature's vortex. Waterspouts remind us that even the most tranquil settings can suddenly turn wild. Whether you see one from a safe distance or watch it unfold through a lens, one thing's for sure: nature's artistry never fails to leave us in awe. Now, take a look at this image. What comes to mind? At first glance, it might seem unreal, but this is the aftermath of a shocking event. Over 1,000 tuna fish mysteriously killed in the middle of the sea. Who was behind it? That remains a mystery, but one thing is certain: no one saw this coming. Lightning strike on a tent, Vermont, USA. Nothing beats a good camping trip. Fresh air, crackling campfires, and the great outdoors. But for one Vermont family on July 7, 2017, their peaceful getaway took a shocking turn. Literally, one moment they were enjoying the scenery. The next, a bolt of lightning struck their tent, sending an electric jolt through their campsite and rattling their nerves. Miraculously, they walked away unscathed. Lightning is one of nature's most unpredictable forces. It forms when storm clouds build up an electric charge, and when that charge reaches a breaking point, a bolt of pure energy streaks toward the ground. While most lightning strikes hit open fields, trees, or tall buildings, tents, not exactly prime targets. That's what makes this Vermont incident so rare. Summertime storms are common in Vermont, but a direct lightning strike on a tent? Not so much. The state's mountainous terrain and dense forests influence storm behavior, but a hit like this is an outlier. Still, it serves as a stark reminder that when nature decides to unleash its power, anything or anyone can be in the strike zone. So, how do you avoid becoming a human lightning rod? First, if a storm rolls in, take cover in a solid structure or vehicle, not a tent. Avoid open fields, lone trees, and metal objects. And if you ever find yourself caught outside with nowhere to go, crouch low with your feet together to minimize ground contact. Finally, keep an eye on weather forecasts before heading out, because the best camping trips don't include a near-death experience. Camping should be about roasting marshmallows, not dodging lightning bolts. But as this Vermont family learned, when it comes to nature, you're never really in control. So stay alert, stay safe, and maybe pack a little extra luck along with your sleeping bag. A surreal sunset in the Philippines. Sunsets are supposed to be predictable, warm hues melting into the horizon, a gentle farewell to the day. But in June 2019, residents of Mandaue City, Philippines, witnessed something straight out of a science fiction movie. As the sun dipped, the sky split into two distinct colors, one side glowing golden, the other a moody bluish gray. It was a sunset unlike any other, leaving witnesses in awe and social media buzzing with theories. So what exactly happened? The explanation lies in atmospheric optics. This rare effect, known as a split sunset, occurs when clouds, air density variations, and the sun's angle interact in just the right way.
What is that? I've never seen anything like this before.
Essentially, a large cloud or geographical feature, like a mountain, casts an enormous shadow, dividing the sky into contrasting halves. Sunlight continues to illuminate one section, while the other remains shaded, creating an eerie but stunning visual divide. While sunsets happen every day, this phenomenon is exceptionally rare.
Is this something natural? I've never seen this.
It requires the perfect blend of meteorological conditions, making each occurrence unique. Similar events have been reported worldwide, but no two look exactly alike as the interplay of light and shadow changes each time. Want to see one for yourself? Your best bet is to watch the skies during sunset on partly cloudy days. A mix of clear sky and towering clouds increases the chances of a dramatic light show. And if you do witness a split sunset, grab a camera. But more importantly, take a moment to appreciate the sheer artistry of nature, because sometimes the sky paints masterpieces we never expect. Hoosick River Ice Jam, North Adams, Massachusetts. Winter in North Adams, Massachusetts, crisp air, snow-covered streets, and a peaceful Hoosick River wrapped in a thick coat of ice. Sounds idyllic, right? Well, not in January 2018, when Mother Nature threw a tantrum. A sudden warm spell turned the river's icy stillness into a chaotic, roaring mess. Imagine a half-mile stretch of ice, each slab a foot thick, crashing over a dam like a runaway freight train. For the locals, it was both mesmerizing and terrifying.
That's all coming from underneath.
What they witnessed was an ice jam in action. Rivers in frigid regions often freeze solid in winter, forming a stable ice sheet. But when temperatures spike and rainfall joins the party, that frozen sheet shatters, sending ice chunks downstream. When those chunks meet an obstacle, like, say, a dam, the result is a natural barricade that can cause serious trouble. The Hoosick River's 2018 jam was a textbook example. Rising temps and rainfall sent a surge of water barreling downriver, lifting and breaking the ice, which then stacked up at the dam, forming an icy blockade.
That's all coming underneath. Holy cow.
Ice jams aren't rare in the northern United States, but ones of this magnitude don't happen every year. North Adams has seen ice-related incidents before, but nothing quite as dramatic as this. Across the region, similar events have played out, yet the Hoosick River's particular mix of conditions made this one a standout. Beyond the spectacle, ice jams can be outright dangerous. They can trigger flash floods if the ice suddenly breaks free, sending a surge of water downstream. Residents near ice-prone rivers should keep an eye on forecasts, especially during winter thaws. Staying away from riverbanks during a melt and having an emergency plan can make all the difference. Property owners should also take precautions, reinforcing structures against potential flooding. The best defense against nature's unpredictable fury: awareness, preparation, and, let's be honest, a healthy respect for how quickly things can go from calm to catastrophic. The Shenyang Mass Leaping Phenomenon. Imagine walking by a river on a rainy summer afternoon, only to witness thousands of fish launching themselves into the air like acrobats in a chaotic ballet. That's exactly what happened in Shenyang, China, on July 26, 2024. As steady rain poured down, countless fish began leaping frantically, creating a surreal, almost apocalyptic scene that lasted over half an hour. For those who saw it firsthand, It was a jaw-dropping spectacle. So what caused this fishy frenzy? Meteorologists and biologists point to a combination of environmental factors. Heavy rain had caused water levels to rise rapidly, likely disrupting the fish's habitat. Their usual resting spots were gone, and the influx of sediment and debris made the water murky, limiting oxygen levels. Desperate for air, the fish did the only thing they could: jump. While individual fish jumping out of water is normal, mass leaping events like this are rare and usually signal environmental stress. Similar incidents have been documented worldwide, often following heavy rainfall, pollution, or abrupt changes in water conditions. The Shenyang event stands out due to its sheer scale, leaving even experts amazed. What does this mean for the environment? A sudden mass fish leap is often a warning sign of ecological imbalance. Poor water quality, habitat destruction, or sudden climate shifts can push aquatic life to the brink. For locals, this was a reminder of the delicate balance within river ecosystems. Keeping waterways clean and monitoring changes in aquatic life is crucial for maintaining a healthy environment. So, next time you see a fish jump, take a moment to wonder, are they just playing, or is something bigger happening beneath the surface? Because when an entire river starts to leap, it's not just a spectacle, it's a message. A dock's optical illusion. Imagine driving down a remote highway in Ladakh, India. When you stop your car, put it in neutral, and it starts rolling uphill. No engine, no push, just gravity seemingly working in reverse. Welcome to Magnetic Hill, a place that has baffled travelers, puzzled scientists, and fueled wild legends for generations. Located about 30 kilometers from Leh, along the Leh-Kargil Highway, Magnetic Hill is famous for this mind-bending phenomenon. Some say it's due to a powerful magnetic force beneath the Earth's surface. Others whisper about supernatural forces at play. But the truth? It's all one giant optical illusion. The secret lies in the landscape. The surrounding terrain creates a deceptive horizon, making a slight downward slope appear to be uphill. When vehicles are placed in neutral, gravity pulls them forward, but the brain, tricked by the misaligned horizon, interprets it as the car rolling uphill. It's a classic case of the eyes deceiving the mind. Ladakh's magnetic hill isn't alone. Gravity hills, natural optical illusions where objects seem to defy physics, exist worldwide, from the United States to South Korea. Each location offers a unique twist on the phenomenon, but the underlying principle remains the same. For those planning a visit, the experience is best enjoyed in daylight when the illusion is most convincing. And while it may feel like a magical force is pulling you uphill, remember, sometimes science is just as fascinating as folklore. Whether you believe in magnetism, ghosts, or just good old-fashioned physics, one thing's for sure: Magnetic Hill is a place where reality bends in the most unexpected ways. The Changtang River's sudden fury, Changtang River, China. Picture this: a serene river winding through the rugged landscapes of China's Changtang region. Its waters a lifeline for the local community. Then, without warning, that same river turns into a raging monster. On September 19, 2024, after days of relentless rain, the Changtang River swelled beyond its banks, triggering a flash flood that caught everyone off guard. One unlucky individual, recording the rising waters, suddenly found himself in a fight for survival, scrambling up a tree as the floodwaters surged beneath him. Flash floods happen when heavy rainfall overwhelms the ground's ability to absorb water, turning quiet streams into deadly torrents. In areas like Changtang, where rugged terrain meets unpredictable weather, these floods can materialize in minutes, sweeping away everything in their path. The river, once a source of life, became an unstoppable force of destruction. China is no stranger to seasonal monsoons, but flash floods of this magnitude in Changtang are rare. The 2024 event echoed past disasters, serving as a stark reminder of how human activity, urbanization, deforestation, and changes in land use can make floods worse. Natural disasters are bad enough, but when combined with environmental degradation, the results can be catastrophic. So, how do you stay safe when the water rises? First, always take flood warnings seriously. If you live in a flood-prone area, Keep an emergency kit ready and know the fastest route to higher ground. Never attempt to cross floodwaters, whether on foot or in a vehicle. Just 6 inches of fast-moving water can knock an adult off their feet, and 2 feet can sweep away a car. And if you're ever caught in a situation like our unfortunate videographer, climb to safety and wait for rescue. Water can be calm, nurturing, and essential for life, but when it turns against you, there's no stopping it. The Changtang River's sudden fury is proof that when nature decides to take over, it doesn't ask for permission. When the earth spews toxic chaos. It was just another morning in central Java, Indonesia, until the ground erupted. On August 27, 2020, the Kasango mud volcano suddenly burst to life, spewing toxic gases and boiling mud across the landscape. In the chaos, 4 farmers suffered poisoning symptoms, and 19 buffaloes didn't make it out alive. It was a brutal reminder that sometimes the earth itself is the enemy. Unlike traditional volcanoes that spew molten lava, mud volcanoes release a bubbling mix of water, gases, and sediment from beneath the surface. The culprit? Underground pressure. When trapped gases, mainly methane and hydrogen sulfide, build up, they search for an escape route, often resulting in an explosive eruption. And while mud volcanoes may lack the fiery spectacle of their magmatic cousins, they can still be deadly. The Kasango mud volcano has a history of violent eruptions, though they aren't frequent. The 2020 event was particularly intense, not just due to its impact on local farmers and livestock, but because it highlighted the unpredictability of these geological formations. Similar mud volcanoes exist in Azerbaijan, Trinidad, and even the Caspian Sea, each with its own cycle of activity. So what should people do if they live near one of these natural time bombs? Awareness is key. Monitoring activity levels, establishing early warning systems, and staying clear of known eruption zones can save lives. If an eruption occurs, evacuating to higher ground and staying upwind can minimize exposure to toxic gases. In a world where nature can turn violent in an instant, preparation is the only defense. Mud volcanoes may not be as famous as their lava-spewing counterparts, but when they erupt, they leave devastation in their wake. The Kasango event was a chilling reminder that sometimes the ground beneath our feet is just waiting to explode. Mocha Island's flaming waters. Picture this. You're standing on the shores of Mocha Island, Chile, as the sun sets over the Pacific. The waves roll gently, the sky glows amber, and then suddenly flames dance across the water. No, it's not a movie scene or some elaborate special effect. This is a real phenomenon, and it's as eerie as it is mesmerizing. What's happening here? The culprit is natural gas, mostly methane, seeping from the ocean floor. These invisible bubbles rise to the surface, where they sometimes ignite, either due to lightning, friction, or even human activity. When that happens, the water itself appears to catch fire, creating a surreal illusion of a burning sea. Methane seeps are not rare. They exist in oceans all over the world. But for the gas to ignite in such a dramatic way, that's something few people ever get to witness. Historically, sailors have reported seeing the sea on fire in different parts of the world. But Mocha Island remains one of the few places where this phenomenon has been observed multiple times. As spectacular as it looks, flaming water is no joke. Methane is highly flammable, and under the right conditions, a sudden ignition could trigger an explosion. That's why experts warn against intentionally trying to ignite the gas. And for anyone lucky enough to see this natural wonder, the best advice is simple: watch from a safe distance. Fire and water don't usually mix, but when they do, they create a sight that defies logic and leaves even seasoned scientists in awe. Mocha Island's burning sea is a reminder that our planet is full of surprises, some beautiful, some terrifying, and some that exist in a fiery space between the two. Hailstorm from nowhere, Guiyang, China. Picture this. You're sitting at an outdoor cafe, enjoying a quiet evening in Guiyang, China. The city hums with life, neon lights reflecting off glassy skyscrapers. Then, out of nowhere, bam! A chunk of ice crashes onto your table. Then another. Within seconds, the sky unleashes a frozen fury, turning the streets into a battlefield of bouncing ice missiles. This was the scene on March 16, 2023, when a surprise hailstorm struck the capital of Guizhou province. Hail the size of ping-pong balls, some even larger, pounded the city with relentless force. In minutes, roads were slick with ice, trees lay battered, and unlucky cars bore fresh craters in their windshields. Hail forms when strong updrafts within a storm cell carry raindrops high into the atmosphere, where freezing temperatures transform them into ice. As the updrafts cycle the growing hailstones upward again and again, they accumulate more layers of ice. When they become too heavy, gravity takes over, and down they come in a spectacular and often destructive display. China is no stranger to hailstorms, but this one was particularly intense. The sudden onslaught left residents scrambling for cover. One man had to shovel his way out of his car as hail piled up 8 inches deep in some areas. Another resident likened the noise to machine gun fire. The largest recorded hailstone in history fell in South Dakota in 2010, measuring 8 inches in diameter. While Guiyang's storm didn't break records, it was a powerful reminder that warm, humid air colliding with cold fronts can create instant chaos. As quickly as it arrived, the storm passed, leaving the city shaken and the streets littered with icy remnants. Hailstorms may not last long, but their impact, dented cars, shattered windows, and startled citizens, lingers long after the final ice chunk hits the ground. A stormy spectacle in Thailand. Tornadoes are scary. Now, imagine 4 of them forming at once. Except instead of tearing through land, they're spinning over the ocean. That's exactly what happened on November 25, 2018 near Koh Lipe, Thailand, when multiple waterspouts appeared simultaneously, creating a scene straight out of a disaster movie. Waterspouts are essentially tornadoes over water, forming when cold air meets warm, humid conditions. They don't always make landfall, but when they do, they can cause significant damage, uprooting trees, destroying boats, and sending lightweight objects flying. While individual waterspouts are fairly common in tropical regions, the sight of 4 forming at the same time, that's the kind of thing meteorologists dream about and sailors have nightmares over. The Andaman Sea, where this event took place, is no stranger to waterspouts, but seeing multiple form together is exceptionally rare. A perfect mix of atmospheric conditions, warm sea temperatures, high humidity, and strong winds combine to create the ultimate storm show. For the lucky or unlucky people watching from the shore, it was a once-in-a-lifetime sight. If you ever find yourself near a waterspout, whether on land or at sea, safety should be your top priority. Boaters should head toward shore immediately, as even weak waterspouts can capsize small vessels. On land, the best move is to seek shelter indoors and away from windows. And if you're a storm chaser looking to get the perfect shot, just remember, nature doesn't always care about your camera lens. Koh Lipe's waterspout swarm was a rare and unforgettable event, a reminder that the ocean is just as unpredictable as the skies above it. When 4 twisting columns of wind and water appear on the horizon, one thing is certain: nature is putting on a show, and you'd better watch from a safe seat. The ultra-localized downpour in Indonesia. Imagine strolling through a parking lot in Bekasi, Indonesia, when you notice something utterly. Imagine strolling through a busy parking lot in Bekasi, Indonesia, on an otherwise dry day, when you see something straight out of a sci-fi movie, rain falling on a single car while the surrounding pavement remains bone dry. No, it's not a prank or some elaborate special effect. This is ultra-localized rain, a phenomenon so rare and bizarre that even meteorologists do a double take. How does this happen? The answer lies in atmospheric microphysics. Ultra-localized rain occurs when a small, isolated pocket of air becomes saturated with moisture and releases precipitation over an incredibly confined area. The process is similar to how larger thunderstorms form, but instead of covering an entire city, this miniature cloud decides to dump its contents on one unlucky or lucky spot. Bekasi isn't the only place where this has happened. Similar events have been reported in Palermo, Italy, where rain fell on a single street while everything around it remained dry. These occurrences are so rare that when they do happen, they often go viral, leaving people questioning whether they've just witnessed a glitch in the matrix. While ultra-localized rain is more of a meteorological curiosity than a danger, it does have some implications. For example, a sudden downpour in a single area can make roads unexpectedly slippery, increasing the risk of accidents. If you ever experience this rare phenomenon, take a moment to appreciate it, because odds are you won't see it again anytime soon. Nature has a way of surprising us, and ultra-localized rain is proof that sometimes weather doesn't play by the usual rules. Whether you're the one getting drenched or just an amused bystander, one thing is certain: when the sky decides to rain on only you, it's a story you'll be telling for years. Water gushing from a rotting sweet gum tree, Birmingham, Alabama. You've heard of geysers, but what if I told you trees could erupt like one? Welcome to Birmingham, Alabama, where an old sweet gum tree put on a show that had lumberjacks rubbing their eyes in disbelief. When a team of tree cutters arrived on a chilly December morning, they expected a simple job: chop, haul, and move on. What they got was an impromptu water feature gushing from a tree trunk like a broken fire hydrant. Sweet gum trees are known for their spiked seed pods and star-shaped leaves. But a natural water park? Not so much. When the crew sunk their saws into the tree's decayed heart, they triggered a spectacular release. Water shot from the opening in a steady stream, cascading down like a mini waterfall. It was less wood meets chainsaw and more tree bursts into tears. But what caused this botanical oddity? It turns out trees are natural water movers, sucking up moisture from the soil and transporting it through their vascular system. When a tree rots from the inside, often due to fungal or bacterial infections, the hollowed-out trunk can act like a cistern, filling with rainwater over time. The pressure builds, and when a cut provides an escape route, nature does the rest. This wasn't just a fluke occurrence. Similar weeping trees have been spotted worldwide.
Loco! A waterfall.
Usually in species with hollow trunks like willows and oaks. Some cases stem from a condition called wetwood, a bacterial disease that causes internal fermentation. The liquid inside can turn foul, bubbling with gases like methane. While Birmingham's surprise fountain was more spectacle than hazard, larger tree failures have led to road closures and flooding. The takeaway? Nature is full of surprises, and sometimes even a seemingly ordinary tree can steal the spotlight. And for the guys with the chainsaws, they walked away with a viral video and a newfound respect for the unpredictability of the great outdoors. The tornado that rose from the sea, Panama City Beach, Florida. Tornadoes belong in the Midwest, right? Kansas, Oklahoma, maybe Texas if things get really wild. But what if I told you Florida, land of sunshine and palm trees, gets its fair share of twisters? In fact, not only do they get tornadoes, they get their aquatic cousins, waterspouts. And in April of 2021, one of these watery whirlwinds came charging straight toward Panama City Beach. It started out innocently enough. Tourists lounged on their rented condo balconies, sipping their morning coffee and enjoying the Gulf breeze. Then came the alert, tornado warning. Confused murmurs spread. A tornado? In Florida? Before anyone could really process it, someone looked out over the water. And there it was, a twisting column of mist and fury snaking down from the sky, kicking up spray as it spun across the waves. Unlike land tornadoes, waterspouts are usually weaker and form over warm waters rather than thunderstorms. There are two types: fair weather waterspouts, which are harmless and short-lived, and tornadic waterspouts, which are exactly what they sound like. Tornadoes that just happen to start over water. The Panama City Beach spout? It was the second kind, and it was hungry for land. As the vortex closed in, the wind picked up. Beach umbrellas flipped, patio furniture vanished, and in one particularly surreal moment, fish literally rained from the sky. Then, just as quickly as it arrived, the waterspout lost steam, dissipating into thin air as it hit the shoreline. Florida sees more waterspouts than anywhere else in the world, with up to 500 forming every year. While most stay offshore, a few make landfall, causing minor damage. This one was all drama and no destruction, a thrilling reminder that nature doesn't need fire and brimstone to put on a show. For the lucky tourists who caught it on video, it was the vacation footage of a lifetime. Moving a floating bog away from a bridge, Lake Chippewa, Wisconsin. What if I told you a group of boaters spent their mornings pushing around a living, breathing island? Welcome to Lake Chippewa, Wisconsin, where the locals aren't just fishing, they're herding bogs. Every year, massive floating islands of peat, grass, and even full-grown trees drift across the lake like oversized lily pads on a mission. One problem: sometimes these wandering wetlands get a little too cozy with bridges, blocking the waterway and threatening infrastructure. That's when the town's unofficial bog wranglers spring into action, using their boats like cowboys corralling a wayward herd. This isn't just some small-town oddity. Floating bogs are nature's version of modular real estate found in lakes and wetlands worldwide. Unlike solid ground, they form when decaying plant matter binds together, creating a dense, spongy mass that can lift off the lake bed when water levels rise. The vegetation keeps growing, birds build nests, and before you know it, you've got an island that drifts wherever the wind blows. Sounds idyllic, right? Not when they get stuck. In May of 2022, the Chippewa Bog found itself wedged against a bridge, blocking access between two sides of the lake. That's when a flotilla of boaters showed up, using their motors to nudge the stubborn landmass back into open water. But peat islands don't take orders well, and this particular bog had other ideas. Snagged on underwater rocks, it refused to budge. The struggle went on for hours, an aquatic tug-of-war between man and moss. While this floating island remains a seasonal headache, it's also an environmental MVP. Peat bogs store vast amounts of carbon, helping regulate greenhouse gases. In fact, they hold more carbon than all the world's forests combined. So while the people of Lake Chippewa may grumble about their annual bog migration, they're actually protecting one of nature's greatest climate warriors. In the end, the bog stayed put, this time, but the next high winds will set it drifting again. And when that happens, the boat brigade will be back, ready to steer their floating forest away from disaster. Landslide triggered by Cyclone Yas, Sikkim, India. Mountains are supposed to be permanent, unshakable, immovable, timeless. But on one stormy day in late May of 2021, a hillside in Sikkim, India, decided it had had enough. It started with the rain. Cyclone Yas had unleashed torrential downpours across northeastern India, drenching the already unstable slopes. Then, without warning, the land itself began to slide. A towering retention wall, meant to hold back the mountain, buckled under the pressure, and then collapse. With a sickening rumble, thousands of tons of rock and earth surged downward like a tidal wave of destruction. A lone camera captured the moment. Dust billowing, boulders tumbling, and a single frantic figure sprinting for safety. The road above, moments ago a solid path, vanished into the abyss. Landslides are common in India's mountainous regions, where monsoons and seismic activity regularly test the limits of the landscape. Poor infrastructure and deforestation only make things worse. When the natural balance is disturbed, whether by heavy rain, earthquakes, or human activity, the ground simply gives way. What makes landslides so dangerous is their unpredictability. Some move at a glacial pace, creeping down slopes over months. Others, like this one, explode in an instant, leaving little time for escape. In the Himalayas, entire villages have been swallowed whole by these earth-shaking events. Scientists use a combination of satellite monitoring, sensors, and geological surveys to predict where landslides might strike next. But early warnings can only do so much. The best defense is prevention, strengthening infrastructure, preserving natural vegetation, and avoiding construction in high-risk zones. For Sikkim's residents, this landslide was a close call. No one was hurt, but it was a stark reminder that even mountains aren't immune to the forces of nature. And when the earth decides to move, there's nothing left to do but run and hope you're fast enough. Wow, nature is absolutely wild. Which of these moments blew your mind the most? Let us know in the comments. And if you love insane real-life phenomena caught on camera, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out. Stay curious, stay amazed. See you next time.